the PMH, Peninsula Maternity Hospital, which was, of course, in that wonderfully vibrant community that used to be District 6. And I think Janet may remember it and Ken may remember it because you were in my group. It was early on, and in the PMH, you walked in and there was a big sort of waiting area which had benches around the side. And then there was a little ante-room off it where the obstetric registrar was giving us a tutorial. And we used to sort of take it in turns to catch babies, the deliveries. And it was my turn. It was very early on. It was the first one. I hadn't had one yet, okay? And the registrar was sitting in the ante-room sort of facing out, and we were all sort of, locked into his every word. And he, suddenly behind us, we heard this voice saying, "Doctor, ek wil druk." And of course, the registrar, I won't name him just in case he's, around, but he was called Eric. He had typically sort of obstetric, "Don't worry, darling, we'll be with you in a moment," and carried on. I think also he was trying to impress the women in our group. Our group consisted of myself, Ken, Lee Napier, Richard Stern, Lionel Lubitz, but also Janet and Leslie Schumann and Shirley Popilski and Carol Marshall. Now, I wasn't wearing a miniskirt, so he wasn't checking out my legs. Anyway, it sort of all quietened down again. An obstetrician could tell you why maybe she became less agitated all of a sudden. And Eric carried on with the tutorial. And then suddenly, a couple of minutes later, she jumped up and, "Doctor, ek wil druk." And Eric, to the midwife, "Come on, guys, please, just the nurse is coming. Don't worry, you'll be fine, okay?" And then it calmed down again, inexplicably. But then the third time, and this was happening over my shoulder, and I looked over my shoulder. This time the dialogue had changed slightly. She said, "Doctor, ek gaan druk." And fellow classmates, she drukked, hey? And this baby just shot out. I promise you, it just shot out, hit the floor at an angle, and had sufficient, fortunately at an angle, had sufficient lubrication to sort of slide across the floor and come to rest gently against the skirting board under the bench. And of course, suddenly there was a flurry of activity, and a couple of midwives appeared with clamps and, the placenta, this, that, and the other. I actually got to deliver that placenta, and it was credited my first catch, my first delivery. And as you can imagine, what do you think that little baby, it was a very nice, full-term, live-born, male, well-grown delivery. What do you think he was doing? He was screaming his head off. And basically, I think he was absolutely fine. I actually managed to keep tabs on him for a couple of months, and certainly by the time he was 2 or 3 months old, he seemed absolutely fine. Do you remember, Janet? And so, yeah, that was my anecdote. That was my introduction to obstetrics.
This is a period when I was doing pediatrics, and I was doing a neonatal rotation through Mowbray Maternity with Vincent Harrison, who I'm sure you'll all remember, who is kind of cynical and had a pretty dry sense of humor. And we had a clinical meeting once a week where these people came, and the Groot brothers walked in the room, and immediately Vincent Harrison started muttering. And I said, "What's up?" He said, "Those damn Groots, all they do is eat and shit, eat and shit." And I swear he had no sooner said that than the one Groot said, "Where's the food?" And the other one said, "Where's the loo?" And Vincent went ballistic. I told you, all they do is eating shit.
Just about Herman de Groot, he had his memorial service this morning. He died a few weeks ago at the age of 96 or something like that. I used to see him walking, we live in Woodside Village now, I'd see him walking across to go and get his whiskey in the centre and play croquet. But he had his memorial service this morning.
The reason that the de Groot brothers used to eat a lot is that they were prisoners of war under the Japanese in Indonesia or wherever. And there's a story that I was there when the president of the Royal College of Obstetrics and Gynecology was in Cape Town. And we were all sitting at dinner, and Herman was sitting next to the wife of the president of the Royal College. And he'd finished his meal, and the president's wife put her knife and fork together, and there was a potato on the plate. And Herman said, "Are you going to eat that?" And she said, "No." He went,
Not so much an undergraduate story as when I started on the surgical rotation. We all knew Jannie Louw's history behind and how a little bit scared we were, perhaps, as students. And when we were on the rotation, I decided I was going to spend all my surgical time on the C floor. Well, I did 90% of my training on the B floor under Jannie. When my son was born, it was about December and end of November. My wife, about a month after the delivery, discovered a nodule in the thyroid. So I approached Jannie, and he said, "This obviously needs to come out." So after Christmas, on a Monday morning, on Jannie's list, she underwent a thyroid lobectomy. Prof. Ace did the frozen section, follicular adenoma, everything went fine, went home. Saturday morning, I got home after the ward round. There's a phone call, Lali Malan, "Professor Louw wants to see you tomorrow morning after church." I thought, well, my surgical career is now done. I've obviously done something terrible. Anyway, Jannie arrives at my flat door, comes in, my wife makes him a cup of tea, and he says, "I've got some bad news. It's not a follicular adenoma, it's a malignant nodule. Your wife's going to need a total thyroidectomy." And then that was, I think I must be the first registrar that Jannie ever visited at home, but I'm not sure about that. My wife went on to have irradiation I-131.
Was in our internship with him, and there was a waiter from the Pig and Whistle who was in B3 with pancreatitis, and we were on that grand round, Jannie in the front, and Birkenstock in line, etc., and a whole line of us, and we were standing there, and Jannie now decides that he is going to ask why this guy's got pancreatitis. So he says, I'm telling you this, you cannot drink ever again. So the guy says, yes. He says, what did you drink? He says, cane. You cannot drink cane ever again. He says, yes, doctor, I know. Cain killed Abel.
Just a little story about Jannie. We always learned from our elder registrars in pathology. There was a guy who did GIT at GSH before I took over, a guy called Jan Boerter. And he said, if you're ever having trouble with Jannie in a frozen section, there's only one thing you've got to do. You've got to invite him to look down the microscope. So one day I was in there, and it was a 28-year-old man. And I looked down there, and my heart sort of pumped, and looking at the biopsy, and I suddenly realized it was cancer. And it was a particularly virulent form of cancer. Some of you may remember signet ring cancer. And so I looked at it, and I looked at it 100 times, and I thought, is there anything I can mistake? He's only 29. So we didn't really go into the theatre normally then. We normally communicated over the intercom. So I just said, look, I'm afraid he's got cancer. So obviously that created a bit of consternation, having to do something major to a 29-year-old man in theatre. So Jannie came through. So this little man comes through with his red headgear on. He says, "Are you sure, my boy?" We used to call us my boy. Remember, my boy, are you right? Are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? So I suddenly remembered, yeah, no, Prof, I'm absolutely certain. He said, "Are you really sure?" And I said, "Well, do you want to look down the mic, Prof? I can show you." He said, No, that's fine. No, that's fine. That's fine. I'll believe you." You know. Anyway.
I worked for Professor Kench, and we were examining one year, and the brightest ChemPath student came in. He had 96 for his paper. And Kench invited him to sit down and asked him, "How would you test for blood in the urine in the bush?" He didn't give a good reply, and Kench failed him. 96% for the paper. So the next student came in, who was the worst student in the class, who had 2% for the paper. And I said, "Prof, I'm going to ask the same question. If he could answer it properly, you got to pass him." Kench didn't like that. But I asked the question, and this guy listed 6 different ways of looking for blood in the urine in the bush. And I turned to Kench and I said, "You got to pass him." And the guy with 2% for his paper walked out passing ChemPath in 4th year.
Good story. Hello, Pete here. I just wanted to say what an absolute pleasure it's been to come back into the bosom of the old class, and also missing the diaspora. And thank you so much to the organizing committee. And, well, I don't know about you guys, but I'm 74 years old and still doing it a little bit. So, and I feel gainfully occupied and happy. And I hope you all are. Love to you all. Thank you.
Hi there, I'm Janet Weiner, and it's been a delight meeting up with most of you here today. I've spoken to most of you, and I'd like to chat more tonight. We miss some of you who haven't been here. I am retired now and live in California with my husband. We've been married for 53 years. And going on. So just want to send my best to everybody, and thank you for organizing this amazing get-together.
This is Pete Ruiz. Once again, let's thank the organizing committee, who've truly engendered a spirit of real camaraderie which has existed over the years. Thank you all those who have put up with my academic negligence throughout the years, and may you all have a very good 2023.
David Thompson here. Sorry you've missed this wonderful occasion, and good luck in the future. Thank you.
Claude Schultz. It's been wonderful to have reunions with everybody. I'm sorry there can't be more of us here. I've remained a faithful South African and stayed in East London, which was a very clever thing to do. And let's hope you'll all be here for the next reunion.
Hi, I'm Charlie Simmons. The striking memory for me is that when I read all your resumes, the class of 72 has done exceptionally well. Everybody's done very well. But the only thing I would really like to say is that they were really happy years when we were all at varsity together. Thank you. Goodbye.
Hi, Steve Price here. I must admit, I never really felt proud of our class until this reunion. We've done a hell of a lot, guys. I think we can pat ourselves on the back, and I'm very proud to be a member of this class. Thank you.
At the end of chapter 43 in Dickens's David Copperfield, David says, "And I stepped to one side, and I let my phantoms pass me by, and they were gone. And then I could resume the adventure of my life. But the phantoms don't go away." And we've been reminded of all sorts of phantoms today, and how wonderful it's been to be one of those phantoms, I guess. And so I wish you and everyone of class of 72 just continue to be that fantastic phantom and keep going. This is Kerry Allerton.
Tony Harrison, want just to say that we have had the most tremendous day today, with reunions of faces we haven't seen, conversations we haven't had, and it's a very close-knit little audience, unfortunately. So to all who missed it, you missed something very special. My thanks to the organizing committee, my thanks to everybody who allowed us, and me particularly, to pursue a career in medicine, which has been exciting and I would never change for anything in the world. I just wish you all long life, happiness, and wish you were here, but all the best from me here in Cape Town.
If I look at the achievements of our class and how well we have all done, and I reflect back on our teaching, I realize what an incredible golden era of medical school and the teaching and the teachers that we had that have allowed us to achieve so well. I'm glad that there's so many of us who've been able to get here today, and I wish all of those in all the other countries a great 2023, and again thanks to the organising committee.
Hi, Andy Sherwood. Can I leave you with one thought? Just to do one act of kindness a day, and you'll find that you won't judge yourself so harshly, and you'll be kind to yourself as well.
According to my name badge, I'm Pete Reinders. Just Watty, Jeff Paddle, Brad, you old farts, you should have been here. Okay.
Hi, I'm Ken Woods. Just greetings to all those of you across the world, and special greetings to my close friends Lee Napier, Lionel Lurbitz, and Richard Stern, who are in our group. We had a wonderful time at medical school, and it's given us a great life and career. So happiness to all of you.
Hi, it's Jamie Miller, and you might remember Biddy Reed, who was the year above us. We got married in my house job here, so we've been married nearly 50 years. We had 5 children, and we've had a wonderful life together. But I really miss the guys who didn't come, and I miss Peter Ross, Chris McCosh, John Thing, other chaps in our tuck group, and we had a wonderful time here, and I've been so grateful to have been here for this wonderful occasion and to have met so many old friends again. Thank you.
Hello, this is Biddy, and I know I was on in the class of the year before, but I just want to say thank you so much for including me today. Our reunion had to be online because of COVID, so I have so appreciated, especially Jake, thanks so much for all the photographs of and the names of all the people who taught us, who were such fabulous teachers, and it was such a privilege to be at medical school. So thanks for including me, you guys, in your year, and it's great to be with you all. Thank you.
Ivor Hill here. Again, I want to echo our thanks to the organising committee, and particularly to Alistair for reaching out and bringing this to my attention. I'm really glad you did that. I'm in absolute awe of the careers some of you people have had. It's just amazing. And I think that's a tribute to the incredible tutors that we had, and the educations we got. I think we were extremely lucky to be in that time. And then finally, to my wife of 52 years, any success I've had, she takes credit for it. Thanks.
Your wife's name of Barbara. It's been great fun helping Jake, who's been the driver of this organization, but it's wonderful meeting everybody again. And I quote Phil von Hiller, who said about reunions, I think it was the last one or maybe the one before, he said that we're all the same, except more so. And it is great to meet you. We haven't really changed, and it's been wonderful to meet up, and I hope we'll enjoy this evening at dinner and leave on a high note. Thank you very much.
Rose Harker here. I have been long retired from general practice. Cape Town is beautiful, but I'll tell you that Cornwall is just as beautiful, so if any of you would like to visit, we're welcome. Good wishes to all of you.
Hi, I'm Bernard Price. It's been a great honor to be part of this class. It's the most wonderful education I think any medical student could have had anywhere in the world, and has guided us and helped us throughout our careers. It's been a wonderful reunion, wonderful seeing all the faces around us. Initially you don't recognize them, but after 10 seconds they're all very familiar. We miss everybody that didn't come, and we look forward to seeing them in Cape Town. And I really hope that we're going to be around for the 60th.
I'm Joe Tyrrell. I personally feel extremely grateful and privileged to have been a member of the class of 72. We had a wonderful education, which I think enabled us to do good in the world. And so I would like to thank everybody on the organising committee who've done a wonderful job, and send good wishes to all of you out there.
Over there sits, without his uniform, the Top Gun. So Jake, you represent the best of the fighter pilots, but they were all a superb bunch. And here is the superb bunch, still flying. So my wish to the class is we will not have another reunion. I doubt it. But we will have another function, which we will be announcing. And I sincerely hope that some of the good people will perhaps still join us once more. But to the class of 74, I must congratulate you on what you've achieved. Thank you.
Very proud to have been in this class, and very proud to have been in the organising committee. And Jake, thank you for being this driving force. This has really been a big drive, really big drive. And thank you all for coming. And I hope we're going to see each other in the next reunion.